Hello, this is Molly Reamer with Bridges Grove in 30 Days of Goddess with our weekly 5 to 7 minute mini ritual. Today I am using woman runes as well as all cut your own expansions for the daily practice companion deck for 30 Days of Goddess. Just a reminder that the cards can be used as a standalone practice without any other components of 30 Days of Goddess. And likewise, the cards themselves, I wanted to remind people that the cards themselves, the print your own deck or the cut your own deck, as well as the printables that the Goddess Magic community gets on Patreon, that's patreon.com/goddessmagic. Those cards can be used as a standalone 30 Days of Goddess daily practice where you don't have to do any journaling or writing or art or collage or anything like that. You can simply pick assorted cards, read them aloud or silently, carry them with you, keep them by your computer, whatever feels nurturing to you. And that itself can be a perfectly fulfilling 30 Days of Goddess practice without needing to make it any bigger or more complicated or more artistic than you feel like. So I wanted to give a little shout out to the cards. The books are powerful, but the cards on their own can be very fulfilling and very useful and very flexible and adaptive. I have mine all printed out in a little bag, and it's very much grab and go portable little ritual space that can really go with you anywhere, no matter what you're doing or where you are. So I just want to give a little shout out to the cards. So this week from Woman Runes, we receive the circle, the rune of self, beginnings, potential, innocence. So I have been speaking a lot this month, I feel like, about the expansiveness and possibility and new change and kind of the sensation of doors being opened, new doors being opened, and leaning into expansiveness, leaning into that sensation of expansive possibility. And perhaps accepting the invitation to let some things go and to step through no doorways. So that's not exactly what this rune is quite about, but it reminds me of that with its emphasis on beginnings and potential. So this rune can also remind us to ask questions about self-care. How are we taking care of the self? How are we nurturing the self? When do we perhaps need to come back home to the self? I know that taking self-care can be a buzzword, and that taking care of ourselves can sometimes be, we can sometimes worry that it's selfish, or we can even be perceived as selfish. And then from a cultural perspective, that emphasis on the self, it can lead to, does self-care lead to neglect of community care, etc.? There's all kinds of issues that come up with care of the self. But I am also here to say that your life matters the most to you. So that means that you need to be taking care of yourself. You need to be refilling your tank. You need to be refueling your spirit so that you can give. And so even if that is perceived as self-centered or selfish or whatever, and I do not mean we should be rude or neglectful or uncaring towards other people, but the truth of the matter is that this is your life and it is most precious to you. And so it needs to have room. Your life needs to have room for you in it. And so this rune of the self reminds us to come back to that center and then radiate out from there. So coming back to center, to that wholeness of the center, the wholeness of the self, then you can extend outward to touch other people's lives and to be helpful and to be nurturing and nourishing to others. We have to return to center. We have to come back to the self first before we can do that. So and then word-wise, we received wish. So let me think about this one. Yeah, make a wish and then make it come true. Maybe we can make our own wishes come true. What do you wish for right now? What is your deepest wish? What if you pause to listen and then let that wish come true? And then a practice, write yourself a love note. That kind of goes with our rune of the self. Write yourself a love note with everything you appreciate about yourself, everything you're celebrating about yourself, everything, that you love and care about and that you're good at. Like, go ahead and give yourself a little love note. And then this is more of a message than a prayer. I'm focusing on more affirmation style cards for the Cut Your Own deck. It's in the shop right now, bridgesgrove.etsy.com, for the winter for December and January, and so I kind of used affirmation style shorter bits instead of full prayers. And then this one is almost more of a reminder than a full prayer either. But let's see what it says. May we repeat the practices, prayers, and processes that deepen our magic, strengthen our devotion, and nourish our experience of the sacred in our lives. May we keep our promises to ourselves. And I really feel like that's what daily practice is all about, is about keeping our promises to ourselves, showing up in our own lives, showing up for the self in the center of life, and living it well and wisely. And so the affirmation, also related to returning to center and wholeness, is I collect the pieces of myself and return to center. Wholeness is always a truth of being, not something you have to earn or prove or demand. Wholeness is always a truth of being. And then I had 2 little reminders from these daily practice reminder card sets. This is something the Goddess Magic people will be seeing eventually in their mailboxes with the magic mail that they get. And anyway, so these are some reminders about daily practice. And I really feel like daily practice is magic. It is life-changing, world-renewing magic. Daily practice is how we feel the goddess alive in the world and at work in our lives. On the other side, daily practice is the union between sacred sameness and infinite possibility. You've heard me talk about this before, and it really is, I think, at the heart of it is like that's what makes daily practice so powerful, is inside of that container we have the union between sacred sameness and infinite possibility. So the container is the same, but then what happens inside it is infinite, and it's really powerful. So thank you so much for being here. May you have a wonderful week ahead. May you care for yourself well and wisely, and may you listen to the deepest wishes of your own heart. Collecting the pieces of yourself back, returning to center, and remembering that wholeness is always a truth of being.